Hello, Wolfpack. I want to talk about Wabi today. I want to talk about Wabi. Wabi is a coin that I've been interested in for a while. I don't own any Wabi right now, full disclosure. I don't own any Wabi. I have owned it at previous time periods in this current bull market. I bought it down here in around January, February, and I sold it a little bit after we topped out in May, just before we saw that massive correction. But I don't own any of it right now, right? But I do have my eyes on Wabi because I do think it's a solid project. I just do have a lot of coins that look very similar to this, right? A lot of Dino coins that are very far away from their all-time highs. I'm a little bit overexposed in that region. I don't really need any more right now. But if I wasn't, right? If I didn't have a bunch of coins like that already, I'd be considering getting Wabi, right? And this is a micro cap, right? Well, it's not necessarily a micro cap. It's more of a very small cap, right? 24 million market cap, very, very small. Usually the distinguishing, price point for a micro cap in terms of market cap is below 10 million. So it's just over double, right? So it's very close to being a micro cap. It's a very small coin, right? Very small market cap. It has had its time to shine. It's got a full circulating supply, so you don't have to worry about any kind of inflation kicking in this coin. What the price is what the price is, right? Market cap's not going to have differentiations, which is good. That's a good note. This coin exploded, right, in 2018. We can go on the weekly chart and coin market cap here. Exploded in 2018, came onto the market in December, and by mid-January it was at 5 USD or 6 USD, sorry. So it did very, very well, wicked straight up to 6 USD, and obviously then the market crashed. So this is the thing with Wabi, right? It didn't really have a lot of time in the bull market. It only came out a few weeks before the top, so it didn't really have a lot of time to build a loyal community, and that's why we had this flatlining bear market and this flatlining bull market, basically, because, we didn't have a strong community built during the bull market. This coin was more of a swing trade for most people, but I am looking at the fundamentals, and I have been looking at the fundamentals in the recent days, and I think this coin's great. And that being said, I did say just then that it didn't really perform very well during the bull market. I'll take that back, right? Well, we went from around 6 cents to around $1.05, so around a 15x within a couple of months there. So it did pretty well, but in comparison to what it's done in the past, not really that much. One of the negative aspects of Wabi that I will get into before I get into the FA is the fact that, yes, it was in the last bull market, right? Yes, it did come out in the last bull market technically, but it came out towards the very end, to the point where we don't have any reasonable fractals to gather from the building up period, because the building up period didn't exist, right? It came out and it just exploded. So we can't really make any concrete price targets, but we can get a rough estimation. We'll get into a rough estimation later in the video. But in terms of full set fractals that are just pretty much destined to happen, that's not really going to happen for Wabi. We just don't have that price action, that historical price action from bull markets to see. There's my friend Mega Whale posting in his group there. What I want to talk about though on Wabi is the fundamentals, right? The fundamentals. What we've got on the fundamentals for Wabi, and what Wabi actually is Wabi is a coin. It's actually an app of some sort, right? Mainly used in China and the Asian region, but I'm pretty sure just mainly used in China and Japan, I will say, that essentially users can download and purchase products, and then their information is shared with brands openly, and in reward for their information being shared, and in reward for their participation in purchasing stuff from brands, they are rewarded with Wabi. So it enables brands to better advertise to people because they know there's specific interests. Like, we can look at this chart right now. We can click on this person here, right? So we've got this random person. Obviously, it's secure, so we don't actually know the names of the people. But, for example, this person is interested in beauty care and skin products, right? And they're 30 years old. So a brand can look at that, and they can directly advertise to that person about beauty care and spring products, to their specific age group, to their specific region in which they live in, to their gender, etc. And due to the fact that they have that specific information to market to, obviously their marketing success rate is going to be better. And so in order to compensate for that, they would give that person rewards for purchasing their products in Wabi, right? So if you purchase my product that I've marketed to you very successfully through use of information, you'll get rewarded with a certain amount of Wabi, right? And then those people can spend Wabi on products as well. So it's essentially, it works for the consumer and it works for the brands, because the brands have better information to market to, and the consumer receive rewards for giving away that information, essentially, right? Obviously, it's all confidential as well, which is good to hear, because obviously people don't want, brands knowing exactly who they are, because that comes into the confidentiality, things like that. Hello, Mega Whale, how are you doing? So yeah, that's what we're kind of seeing on Wabi. It looks bullish, right? It looks bullish because obviously we're heading into this technology age. We've been in it for a while. We're heading into an age where information is the most important asset, right? Information is everything. Wars are not going to be fought with soldiers anymore in the future, right? Wars are going to be fought with information, with technology, with propaganda. And Wabi is one of those things, minus the propaganda, but coming back to the information point, that is going to facilitate this growth, right? So very bullish. You can see that Wabi is growing. It's obviously growing very slowly. I mean, it's 700th on the market cap ranking, right? This is not a big coin by any means, but it is growing, and it does have some traction, right? Let's bring that back here. It does have some traction. It's been growing ever since it came out in 2019. Started off with 1,000 users. Now it's at around 66,000. There hasn't really been a time period where it's gone down in users, which is great to see. And we've got adoption stats. We've got 505 regions with active customers, right, within China and Japan. We've got 16,000 holders. So very small coin, very small coin. But it's partnered with all of these brands here. And it's also got, most notably, this partnership with the Japanese government. And this is essentially the Japanese government facilitating the use of Wabi within their country and kind of making it more accessible to users within Japan and also to brands within Japan, because they understand, right? Japan's one of those places within the world, just like China, that understand the value of technological I'm going to go ahead and say technological warfare, because that's what this is all heading to, right? It's all an information game, and they understand the use of technology in the future, and they understand that getting ahead of their rivals, both economically and socially in the world, will benefit them greatly in the future. And I think that Wabi is one of the things, as I said, that facilitates that growth. So fundamentally, I think it's sound, right? Fundamentally, I think it's sound. I don't have the app. I don't own any Wabi, but just by looking at it and looking at the partnerships they have, it looks good, right? But that being said, do your own research, right? Do your own research, of course. Getting into the TA, we can see that we got some interesting price action on Wabi, and Wabi is having this downwards consolidation period, and we're just kind of going to the sideways, right? We've been going sideways since here, probably around May, right? We've just been bouncing between our major support and major resistance zone. We've got our major support zone at around 15 cents, and and 10 cents here, or 11 cents, and a major resistance zone between 28 and 35 cents. So I will be saying, if anyone wants to buy Wabi, wait for a breakout over this resistance zone, and that would be confirmation that we're basically going to be going upwards, right? Because once we break this massive period of sideways consolidation, what's going to come next, right? The longer a ball is held under the water, the higher it's going to bounce out of the water, or the deeper it's held under the water, whatever that saying is, right? And that's what we're going to be seeing on Wabi. So we're going to see breakouts to the upside, and supporting that theory. Right, we do have, it looks like we couldn't really draw anything from this current point here, but what we actually do have, and what we can draw, is a upwards support line here that would suggest that we have some sort of channel going on here with Wabi. We could probably draw an upwards line here as well, right? So we do have a pretty clear ascending channel with Wabi. Ascending channels are bullish formations, right? We're heading upwards in the channel, and hence we're going to be seeing a breakout to the upside. That's the most likely scenario. And we do have a couple supporting factors to support that breakout theory. Well, what are the supporting factors? Well, what we could look at is the SMAs. Sorry, we can look at the VVPR first. We can see we're coming up on resistance at our critical point of control on the VVPR, which is around 24 cents. If we get a daily close above 24 cents, which we've actually been struggling to do, we will likely be seeing that upwards continuation. So 24 cents is an interesting zone to look at in the short term. I think we will. The way the market is recovering, I think we will. The Gaussian channel. We've flipped the Gaussian channel just recently, which as well is giving me confirmation that we will be closing above 24 cents. We've also flipped all three of our critical short-term SMAs, right? When you flip all three of your short-term critical SMAs, and when they're so tightly compacted, that means that a sharp upwards movement is going to be on the way. So what do I think is going to happen with Wabi based off all of that information? I think we're going to be seeing something like this. breaking out to the upside, rejecting off this channel one more time, coming back down to the bottom of this resistance zone, which is now going to be a support zone, and then breaking to the upside onwards to new all-time highs by late December or mid-January, which is when the bull market will likely be ending in late to mid-January. That's what I'm expecting for Wabi. Supporting that theory, sorry about all these messages I'm getting here. I should have put that on mute beforehand. But regardless, supporting that theory, this little line I've just drawn from a retest of a chop of a channel, coming back down, flipping that bottom of a channel for support, and then breaking up to the upside, is the fact that we have this bearish divergence, or, you could just say a resistance line on the RSI, right? So we have room to go on the upside due to this RSI as well. So what we'll be seeing is coming up and testing the top of this RSI at the same time as we are testing the top of this channel here, rejecting off of that one more time, right? At the same time as we come down and flip this area for support, and then breaking out of the RSI resistance and also the channel and heading up to new all-time highs on Wabi within about a month or two past that point, right? That's what I'd be expecting. Also supporting that is the fact that we are moving up quite significantly on this MACD, and we will probably be seeing one more bearish MACD crossing the daily chart before moving up dramatically on Wabi as well. So every indicator that I have on my chart supports this theory that I've just drawn here, right? Moving to the upside, rejecting, coming back down, retesting, and going upwards. That's what I'm looking at for the TA and Wabi in the short term or medium term, whatever you want to say. Obviously, most altcoins are going to start performing very well late December to late January or mid-January. That's typically what happens in bull markets. Until that point, they just kind of range around slightly to the upside. Wouldn't be expecting any different on Wabi as well. What we are expecting on the weekly chart, and excuse this massive red candle to the left of the screen, that is obviously just a bad reading from the exchange, or something happened there. I'm not sure what it was, to be honest with you, but it goes all the way up to the hundreds of USD. It's pretty clear that Wabi did not reach that price point. So on the weekly chart, we can make a price prediction on Wabi, and we can see that we're very far away from the all-time high. We're very far away from the all-time high on Wabi. We'll measure this out quickly. We're about 24x away from the all-time high. So will we reach the all-time high on Wabi in this bull market? Very hard to say. As I said earlier in the video, we don't have a lot of price data to get a good idea of what's actually happening right now in the charts. But what we can be certain of, and I say certain, obviously nothing's certain in the market, what we can be very confident of is that Wabi will probably be passing this $1 resistance zone. That seems like a given to me. And if we actually take our base measurement of what we do to coins in which we don't have that solid amount of price data from the past that gives us, the ability to have solid predictions. What we do when we don't have that is we take the all-time high we've made, the local high we've made in this cycle. We realize that Bitcoin reached a peak of around 64K at a similar time. We take our price prediction on Bitcoin of 113K by December 27th, and we extrapolate that data, adding 50% because altcoins typically outperform Bitcoin by around 50%. For Wabi, I'm going to be adding a bit more because Wabi is an extremely low cap coin. If it does move up, it's going to move up with quickness, right? Because it's very low on the market cap ranking. So we're going to be adding a little bit more, just a rough estimate here, and this is by no means set in stone. I reckon we could be coming up to see around $3.09 at a minimum on Wabi. That would be my minimum price prediction. I really would struggle to see Wabi reaching a lower price than that unless it just simply dies out, which is obviously a possibility that you have to take seriously with microcap. Well, it's not a microcap coin, but a very small market cap coins. You have to actually take the possibility seriously of it just dying out and not doing that. But I've looked at the fundamentals of Wabi. I think it's very bullish. I think that we do have, we have a decent amount of volume coming in this bull market. There's certainly attention around this coin coming in, and I think that at a minimum, this place here at around $3.07 would make perfect sense for Wabi. This also does line up with a short-term support resistance zone we had here that we made off of the all-time high wick to the downside. I think that rejecting off that region is most likely what's going to happen. That's what I put my money on happening. That is around a 12x from current prices, right? So still very decent gains you're going to be making here on Wabi. What I will say on Wabi is that, we'll get an idea of this on the Bitcoin pair, when this coin takes off, if it takes off, notice how the resistance zones keep getting larger and the resistance gaps between the resistance zones keep getting larger and larger as we go higher and higher in price. This kind of determines and tells us that if Wabi does take off, it's going to become progressively easier for the price to move upwards as it moves upwards, right? This coin is also listed on Binance as well, which is the largest cryptocurrency exchange. Well, at least I think it is, or I think Coinbase and Binance are between the largest. I'm pretty sure Binance is the largest. Regardless, very, very popular exchange that millions of people would have access to globally, tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions, right? So, you know, there's no lack in availability with Wabi. It's definitely out there and ready for people to buy. On the Bitcoin pair, what I will say is we won't reach all-time highs on the Bitcoin pair. We never really do on altcoins. What I can say about the Bitcoin pair is the fact that we probably will be reaching, and this is my personal target, anywhere between this area around 10,600 sats and 5,100 sats, because I am expecting Wabi to do quite well, right? 24x is more than most altcoins will probably give if that scenario ends up playing out. Keep in mind, that's only $3.09, right? That's only half of the all-time high of Wabi. I'd say that's a pretty conservative scenario, but obviously you have to take into account this is a very small cap coin, so you know, you never know what's going to happen. It's better to be conservative. But even with that conservative estimate, I still think we can reach this area here between 10,800 sats and 5,100 sats, which on the Bitcoin pair is between around a 13 to a 28x on the Bitcoin pair. So obviously a pretty big region to be looking at there, but again, we don't have much price data. We don't really know how well altcoins are going to perform in this cycle. Obviously we have diminishing returns to take into consideration. So, you know, it's hard to get a good estimation, but I definitely don't think it's going to be going back to its all-time highs. That's a little bit too optimistic. 40,000 sats seems ridiculous to me, right? 40,000 sats is over, you know, 85x away. Very optimistic, right? Very optimistic. If it absolutely explodes and becomes the biggest thing in China and Japan, for sure, but I just don't think that's going to happen, right? I think that's very optimistic in such a short time frame. Even this is pretty optimistic, you know, in terms of the Bitcoin pair, but, you know, we'll see what happens. The reason why I think it's going to go so high on the Bitcoin pair is because I don't think that most altcoins are going to be, you know, going up by 24x. I think Wabi, if it does have that and it does reach that target of $3, which I think it definitely can do, you know, it's only a 3x from the local high we've made earlier this year, so it's not actually that unbelievable. It just seems unbelievable because we are so far down. We corrected so harshly from our local high, right? We came all the way down from $1.05 to around 12 cents, right? We had a harsh correction. That's what happens with small cap coins. You have harsh rises and harsh corrections. So, you know, I think it can get there, and even for it to get to $3, the market cap would still be very small, right? So it wouldn't take that much adoption of Wabi, you know, or buying of Wabi to get it to that price point. So I think it's very achievable. But that's what I'm looking at for the Bitcoin pair. I think that we could, in the short term, actually correct down even further, right, as Bitcoin has its rally upwards. Because keep in mind, guys, Bitcoin's going to be holding the market in its hands until, you know, at least late December when it tops out, right? Because when Bitcoin makes its parabolic move in the bull market, people rush into Bitcoins, leave altcoins in the dirt. And that's what's happened every single time. That's probably what's going to happen in this market. I don't have any reason to believe it's not going to happen. So until that point, Wabi will probably just continue correcting on the Bitcoin pair. And then when Bitcoin tops out and late December, early January comes, we're going to have some sort of sharp movement. That, you know, that's the most likely scenario in my opinion. So if you guys haven't heard about Wabi, I hope that, you know, this video has brought it to your attention. As I've said, I personally don't own any at this point in time. I will be waiting for a breakout of this red resistance box before buying. I think that, you know, even though a breakout would be a price increase of, you know, around, well, if you want to wait for the channel, it's around 61%, right? Massive price difference there. But I think that with coins that are this far on the ground and this small in terms of market cap, you know, at the end of the day, you're still getting in at a very low price if you truly believe in the product, regardless of whether you wait for an extra 50% gain. You know, an extra 50% gain would only take this thing to a market cap of around 35 million. So it would still be very small cap and still hold very large returns, potential returns for the future. So I think that waiting is probably the best move. You know, as I said, right now, I still think we're going to have a correction off the top of this channel. So there's going to be an opportunity to buy back in. So yeah, just wait for that if you want to buy this coin. But, you know, it is certainly interesting. Even if you don't like the look of a TA, you can kind of understand that in terms of fundamentals, this coin is very interesting. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.